Next, we move on to the ages, and someone that continued to catch my eye, and I'm very fortunate to be living in the same community as her, is Toni Hamel. Toni, you might know of her works because at juried art exhibitions, she's always the grand prize winner, and she's just an outstanding artist in her own right, and she's really taken a major departure in her works and making them quite a bit in a different scale. And these are her works here. Toni, could you share a little bit about these works here and the works that might be in the other galleries as well?
Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Olex, for this great opportunity. And as he was mentioning, this represents quite a departure from my usual work, in that although it's always content-driven, both in terms of technique and approach, it's quite different. It's much lighter, as I like to say. The idea behind this collection came when Olex approached me regarding this show, and the title of the show, Reading the Image. And I thought, what about the idea of book covers, or book cover designs? Basically, I'm providing the viewer with a starting point, and then the viewer can come up with their own narrative, personalize the book behind the cover. In my work, in each piece, there are multiple meanings. So the meaning that I'm assigning to it is not, it's just on the surface. There are other meanings that are behind the surface, or below the surface. So I invite the viewer to dig deeper than the surface of things, and to uncover the embedded truth, as I like to call it. My previous work has been monochromatic, and this particular approach allowed me to be more adventurous with the technique, as well as the visual elements. The other difference is that in these particular works, the textual element have become a fundamental or integral part of the overall visual plane. Prior to these pieces, the title, I always assign a title, but the title is always relegated to the periphery of the visual field. So I'm explaining what my interpretation is, but it's not part of the visual plane. In terms of meanings, Venice is sinking, you know, just by looking at the surface, you may consider, okay, Venice is sinking, really, in reality. But to me, my own interpretation is that it's a sinking of the Western economic and ideological system. The rumors is about how gossips, either true or false, may affect people's life. The one over there is called the disturbance. Again, on the surface, may seem like birds are migrating away from something that has happened, and people are also moving away from something that has happened. In my case, I'm an immigrant just like John, coming from Italy, and it's the leaving of a place because of something that has occurred. Not necessarily a war, not necessarily, you know, could be anything, more on a psychological level. I'm interested in how we feel, think, and act, both on an interpersonal and an intrapersonal relationship. So there's lots of psychology in it, there's lots of sociology in it. I don't want to get too heavy, but you know, that's basically the core of my work. There's another piece in, I don't know what you call the mid-room, The Pursuit of Happiness. And it has some elements that on the surface, again, you may see this little girl feeding the birds, and then there's a golden cage behind it. Well, to me, the crows represent all the obstacles that one has to surpass in order to get to the final rainbow. But then you realize once you're there that it's a golden cage. It is golden, but it's a cage, so you're still trapped in it. And I think the other two pieces that are in the last room are summer flyers. Summer flyers, again, you may think, or you may see people diving into an ocean. It's very autobiographical in that I used to go to Italy to see my parents every summer, and they lived by the beach. So that is one point. And then if you notice, there's a postal mark, I guess you call it, and that postal mark is based on the last letter that I received from my mom before she passed. It's in Italian, unfortunately, but obviously through the numbers you can understand the dates and so forth. Then the theory of flight is lighter in terms of approach and execution. I experimented with objects, external objects that are integral part of the visual plane, and it represents our innate need to fly free from the constraints of familial constraints, societal constraints, and so forth. And then the last piece I can't remember. There's another piece in there. Let's see. No, I think that's it. I think I covered them all. I have 6 pieces. So then the theory of flight, that's the one I was talking about right now. And then actually every piece, there's a lot of time spent on researching the imagery, because every element in the picture has to support the message I need to convey. So if the execution will go quickly, it may take me weeks, if not months, just to research the actual material that I need to incorporate in the paintings. These are paintings. I'm a multi or interdisciplinary artist. I do drawings, paintings, sculptures, and installations. However, the unity of my work is not technical or stylistic, it's always conceptual. So you'll see the same themes running through each piece. And that's basically it. Thank you very much for coming.
It's interesting that at this same time next year, Toni is gearing up for a solo exhibition in our sister gallery in Oshawa at the Robert McLaughlin Gallery, and Sonia's here representing the reading there. So we're very much looking forward to see. But we're the theory of flight, so to speak, that your works will take. It's interesting, as the show, as I was meditating on it yesterday, how topical some things came up. For instance, with the Venice sinking piece, the Aqua Alto, or Aqua Alta sort of cycles that Venice goes through in the flooding, and that's actually currently happening as we speak right now in that part of the world. So it's really amazing.